Hello. Some of the IDs and Amanda have shown interest in how I've synced the animation of bullets to audio. And the main reason for animating out the bullets is it's one of those Richard Mayer principles of multimedia that if you have everything on the screen and someone's speaking, even if you're presenting same thing, people are reading, they're not listening necessarily or as intently to what you're saying as they're reading all the bullets that are on the page. So it's distracting, it's overwhelming, kind of cognitive overload stuff. The idea would be to animate as needed so it doesn't produce it just logically flows. But the first thing, getting a little ahead of myself, the first thing I'll do is in starting it, I'll go ahead and select all the slides and then put on a transition and then increase the duration, usually to around 2 seconds. And what it does is it provides enough separation between all the slides to carry that out. Of course, I could have hit apply to all. That would have done the same thing. On mouse click, I usually take that off since it's going to video. The video timing should work. Next, what I'll do is I'll move down to this is a slide I want to demo for you. This is the Copilot generated presentation that was shown in a different video. I basically wanted to show it because it includes the narration, the full narration from the text document that was uploaded to Copilot to generate this. And then it also creates a short version of it at the top, but this is way too speedy and it leaves out a couple things. So this would just cause if you're going to sync the bullets to the audio, it'll just go flying through. So anyway, it's cool that I added this and it totally works. So the next thing I'll do is I need to basically let me bring in the audio file. I should say that. And when you create the audio file or you receive it from the SME, make sure it's an MP3 file because the WAV files are way too large and it causes a lot of presentation bloat in your PowerPoint. And what I'll do next is a nice tip that was given to me quite a while ago. Is basically when you drag it over, don't drop it on the slide, drop it off the slide. And yeah, you can turn off the icons and all that, but it's a pain. And this is so much easier to do. Basically, at this point, what you'll do is let me show you the what happens with the audio. When you click on the audio, you have two special tabs at the top, audio format tab and a playback tab. The playback tab is where all the action occurs. And in hitting playback, you're going to see that there's a way to play it. And then there's the add bookmark, which we're going to be using to actually mark off where these animations are going to occur. There's also trim audio, and that's pretty handy. And I'll just show that to you real quick. And that is if there's an error in the middle of the audio that you didn't catch in Audition, then what you'll do is you'll duplicate this whole thing. So it has two copies. And then you'll just drag this over to the left to the point in which there's an error. And then you go to the next one and you'll basically bring the starting point past that error and just it'll continue on. Then you set the two up to play one after the other. So it would look like this. You just copy it and paste it. So here's the second instance. You bring it down here. Then if you have your slides animation pane open, if you don't, definitely open it. You'll see them both here. And what you'll do, even if you don't have a second copy and you're going to deal with an error, is you'll set this up to start with previous. And that means when it automatically moves to the slide, it'll automatically play. And then for this one, if you were going to have a fixed error, then you start after previous. So that would play after this previous narration ends. So that's how it's done, pretty much. I hope that helps. But anyway, next thing you'll do is you need to find the different areas in the narrated script and that you'll want to actually trigger that particular transition. So in this case, it'll be a wipe. For example, was coined in 1865 would be the first bullet. So you can bold that. And you could go ahead through all of them. I'll just not put you through that tedium. I've already done it. And then either afterwards or before, you can animate the bullet slides. Before you bold, you could just animate these, or you could do it after. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the control key and I'm going to select the sub bullets. Those are the ones I'm going to bullet out. And then After you've done that, just go up to whichever one you want. Typically, I use wipe from the left. Seems to look really nice. And then I set this up to a duration of 1 second. It just doesn't rip through too fast. So here they are all listed here on this side, but they're all going to occur at the same time. I don't think you have to worry about that because there's triggers that after you've basically set this up to play correctly, the triggers fire these off animations. But if you were concerned about that, or if you think you might do some manual editing, you just select them all and then start on click, and they're all sequentially numbered. So that should help. Let me pause right now, and I'm going to go ahead and add in all the different bullets, not make your way through that. Okay, I've completed indicating where I'm going to hit these triggers for triggering these bullets. So next thing you do is you go back to the audio and you'll go ahead and hit the playback tab, if that's what it is, and then you'll play it. And when you hit the bold word, you'll just add bookmark. That's it. The bookmarks appear here on inside this player piano type thing, horizontal, and it'll just play through it and trigger as it goes later on. So, okay, so now we're ready to set up the bookmarks, is what they call them at this point, which in turn become triggers to trigger the animations. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and the first thing you'll do is select the first wipe, and then you'll go in, click on the audio, and you'll see the playback tab appear, and then you just hit play and then add bookmark. Every time it hits a bulleted area, you hit add bookmark. It's that easy. This guy speaks rather quickly, so I'm going to have to keep on it. But anyway, there you go.
The phrase business intelligence
So
by
just
was
prior to
coined in
each one.
1865 by author Richard Miller Devens when he mentioned about a banker who gathered market knowledge ahead of his rivals. In 1958, Hans Peter Lund, an IBM computer scientist, explored the potential of using technology to gather buy. In the 1960s and 70s, the first data management systems and decision support systems, DSS, began to store and organize the growing volumes of data. During this time, a variety of tools were created to make data easier to access and arrange.
And that's the
Data
last one.
warehouses,
You
executive
really don't have to go through anymore. It just has already recorded each one of these bookmarks in order. The next step is assigning these bookmarks are now become triggers, and you click on slideshow to see actually animations to see these triggers. And what you'll do is click on trigger here and down to bookmark, and here are all 7 listed, one for each one of these transitions. And what you have to be careful of is make sure you assign the correct bookmark to the transition. Otherwise, it'll transition with another one, and then you'll have to redo it. So anyway, here we go. There's the very first bookmark. I click on it and it shifts it down to the bottom and shifts everything else up. You're on the second one, mark 2, bookmark 3, 4, 5, 6, and finally 7. Okay, so they're all listed. Audio is up here at the top as it should be. In theory now, I'm going to go ahead and save this. When I play it, we should be able to see it animate out correctly and add to the narration.
The phrase business intelligence, buy, was coined in 1865 by author Richard Miller Devens when he mentioned about a banker who gathered market knowledge ahead of his rivals. In 1958, Hans Peter Lund, an IBM computer scientist, explored the potential of using technology to gather buy. In the 1960s and 70s, the first data management systems and decision support systems, DSS, began to store and organize the growing volumes of data. During this time, a variety of tools were created to make data easier to access and arrange. Data warehouses, executive information systems, and online analytical processing, OLAP, were among the tools created to work with DSS.
So we don't need to continue beyond that point. It works and super easy. You can go through all of this. It takes some time, but it's so much easier than any other method I've seen before. It's exactly what we've needed all this time. And then you just go file export into video and it looks great. And that's it. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for listening and watching all this time.